Okay, so finishing up, right, graduation day. Right now you're back out in the cold, cruel world of trying to keep the weight off, right, or even lose more. Right? And so paramount to that objective is exercise. Right? So just over and over and over. If you read anything, in the epidemiology of weight loss, over and over and over, you'll hear when we study the people that have success and study the people who don't, one of the main uncommon denominators is exercise. The people that get into an exercise program, they maintain their weight or they lose more. The people that don't exercise, then they put the weight back on, right? So you definitely want to do some type of exercise. So what I'm going to give you today is, the big buffet of the types of exercises, particularly the core exercises. And then, you get started at your own pace on something that logistically is feasible for you to do, right? So swimming, for a lot of people, is just not logistically feasible. You don't have a pool, right, and it's too much trouble, to go to a pool and, change clothes and then get back to work and that type of thing. So for a lot of people, logistically, swimming is just not in. So find something that is easy for you to do, because when you start to exercise, particularly if you're not used to exercising, any excuse will do, to not exercise. Excuses come very easy. So if you have some things out there that there's a logistical obstacle to you, you'll use that as an excuse, right, to not exercise. So first of all, find something that doesn't have a lot of obstacles for you to get into. Right? So walking is something, for instance, that logistically, all you need is a pair of shoes, right, and a sunny day. It doesn't have to be sunny, right? Just not raining or snowing or something like that. So, and even then, people come here to this building and they just walk around this building, or you walk around the mall, right? Those type of things. So you want to find that to do. Then also you want to find something that is enjoyable. You don't want to make this too much of a chore, because the body hates pain, right? The body hates pain, loves pleasure. So find things that are going to be enjoyable for you to do. So in walking, find a picturesque spot, or walk with a friend, and then while you're walking, you're talking and chatting, and again making things enjoyable. Right? So if you wake up in the morning and you're thinking about something that's going to give you pain, again, you're going to find an excuse not to do it. Right? So find something that's enjoyable. And then 3, find something that's in your comfort zone. Right? So don't start doing triathlons tomorrow, training for the marathon. Find something that's, again, within your comfort level, something that's, age appropriate, right? You don't want to go out, and start doing sprints so much, at my age, because, it hurts the joints. So find something that, an exercise that's not going to, again, give you a lot of pain, or, cause some physical damage to your body, right? So the main objective is to make this something that your body will allow you to do on a regular basis. Right? But you need to do whatever exercise you do, you need to do it at least 4 times a week. That's kind of a minimum. Right? 4 times a week, and you probably need to get in about 45 minutes of it. You plan to do 45 minutes of exercise at least. Right? So, exercise is good for so many reasons. It improves oxygen flow, is one of the biggest things. And as we've talked about, one of the things or maybe the primary thing that is going to lead to disease in a person is this inflammation that happens when yeast overgrows in your body, right? So you're always going to have a little bit. You're never going to get totally rid of yeast because it's supposed to be there. But if it overgrows, then your immune system comes out and starts the inflammation process, dropping the bombs and grenades and so forth. And over the long period of time, it's that inflammatory process that leads to the heart disease and the diabetes and Alzheimer's and all of those things, right? That's the common denominator, is this inflammatory process. So exercise, fungus in general doesn't like oxygen. So the more oxygen, right, that there is flowing in your body, if you look at a running stream as opposed to a pond, right, in the pond, you'll see mold, right, and the slime, right, in the pond. You don't see that so much in the stream, unless you go over to the side where the water is not rushing very quickly. Because the running stream, lots of oxygen, right? And mold doesn't grow so much when there's lots of oxygen. So same thing in your body. If you're breathing deep on a regular basis, doing a lot of exercise, making your heart pump, right, and pushing blood through there very efficiently, then your cells are getting lots of oxygen, and then yeast doesn't grow there. Exercise, of course, also good for mental stimulation. So the more oxygen you get to your brain, right, the quicker your thinking is going to be, and the more efficient your thinking is going to be. Exercise, again, also helps maintain weight, because as you breathe in oxygen, that makes it more efficient in burning sugar, right? So, and the more efficient you are at burning sugar, then you don't produce as much insulin. You don't produce as much insulin, then you don't maintain as much fat. Exercise, very good for preventing osteoporosis, right? So this is particularly important for women. The exercise, so bone responds to resistance. So I tell people growing bone is like growing diamonds, right? So the more you take that little piece of coal and thousands of years, you put a lot of pressure on it and it turns into a diamond. Well, the same thing with your bones. Unless they get a resistance signal, right, that they need to be strong, that they won't take up all those magnesium and boron and calcium and all those minerals that are needed to make strong bones. So you have to put some resistance against them. So, the couch potato sedentary type lifestyle that most Americans have, even at work, is very conducive to bone loss. So you have to get out there and put some resistance against those bones in order for them to know that they have to be strong. So that gives us a good segue into resistance exercise. So resistance exercise is exercise where you put resistance against your bones, right? And that makes the muscles contract and they put pressure on the bones. Also, just the effect of gravity, going against gravity, that puts resistance on your bones. So, like when astronauts, when they go into a weightless situation, right, out in space or on the moon or wherever, they lose bone at an incredible, they can develop almost osteoporosis by the time they get back here to Earth, because there's no gravity, no resistance. And when there's no resistance, then you lose bone. So resistance exercise can be just using gravity. So you can do resistance exercise at home, just doing, right, like deep knee bends, right, or push-ups, right? That's using gravity as resistance, right? That will help you grow bone. Skipping, right? They have found that women that skip, take up the exercise of skipping, right? They improve their bone mass, right? Just, again, because you're going up and down against gravity. So that's one way to do resistance exercise. Another way to do resistance exercise is with these different strengths of bands, right? So these cords. This is one that a physical therapist and I developed specifically to help women with osteoporosis. So the generation of women that I was seeing for osteoporosis was not a generation of women that had a history of going to the gym, right? And so they wouldn't go to the gym to work out. So we got to make it easy for them. So we developed this piece of equipment with the big handles on it and so forth, so they can exercise at home. Now with this, you're working against, again, the resistance of this tubing, right, this rubber tubing. And there's lots of different styles and brands out there that you can get. Again, we made this one so that it would be very comfortable and last a long time. Right? You're not going to break this. Still one of the ways to use this is to step on it, right? And you can do your curls like this. Now the benefit of the band type of resistance exercise is that you work in 2 dimensions, right? So when you flex your muscle like this is called a concentric exercise, right? When you're flexing your muscle. And then going back like this is an eccentric exercise. Well, with a weight, when you do your concentric exercise, right, you're working your muscle, right? But then you relax. When you go down like that, you relax. And you're not working the muscle on the eccentric portion. When you have these cords, you're working on the concentric motion, but then as you go back down, you're still contracting your muscle, right? So you're working in 2 dimensions. So this is actually a more efficient type of exercise if you're, again, going for resistance on your bones and so forth. With this particular piece of equipment, just about any exercise you can imagine that you would do in the gym, right? You can modify this to do it just there at home. This strap that it has allows you to stick it in your door hinge there at home, and hold on to that, Jamie. And then with that stabilizer, then you can do all of these arm exercises, and again, it's just up to your imagination, the exercises you can do, but you can do everything with this. So that's one resistance exercise. And then, of course, the traditional resistance exercise is weights, right? And you can buy a set of weights. You can go to the gym and do weights. These are very convenient in that these are adjustable, and such that you can dial in, right, different sets of, so as you get more comfortable doing a particular weight, this way, then you can add another one just by dialing in like this. So I like these because they save a lot of space, right? You don't have weights laying all around the place, and it's cheaper to get those also. So resistance exercise, so you can use gravity, you can use the bands, you can use weights, right? All those are different types of resistance exercise. Now, the other type of exercise very common is aerobic exercise. Aerobic exercise, again, air, aerobic, oxygen. That tells us that these are exercises that get your heart rate up, get your blood flowing, get the oxygen circulating through your body. Those are very important. So swimming, jogging, cycling, skiing, rowing, that is a very good one. All those types of exercises are going to, again, increase your heart rate, increase your blood flow, increase your oxygenation. Your aerobic exercise intensity should be such that you are not quite able to hold a conversation effectively, right? So you should be working that hard, where it's just a little hard for you to hold a conversation, right? You're going to work up to that. Aerobic means that you're able to continually run your body on oxygen, as opposed to anaerobic exercise, which you run out of oxygen. So an example of anaerobic exercise would be like a 100-yard dash, right? You can't run that fast, right, for more than about 120 yards, right, because you run out of oxygen, right? You go into anaerobics. But you can walk, right, forever, just about, right, because you're able to keep your oxygen is able to keep up with the demand of your heart and your other cells in your body, right? So that's what aerobic exercise means. Exercise that you can do for a long period of time, right, where you keep moving lots of oxygen. I mean, I can ride 100 miles on my bicycle, right, no problem. If you ride at a slow enough pace. We ride 30 miles a day on a regular basis. So that's aerobic exercise. When you do aerobic exercise and you can do it for a very long period of time, that's really where you can get into the weight loss of exercise, right? It's hard to lose weight exercising, right? And that's kind of a fallacy that many people are under, that they think that they can exercise and then go eat at McDonald's. You can't do that. Because when you exercise, like I'll ride out to Wildorado, right, 30 miles, back and forth, ride out 30 miles and come back, and I will lose maybe 1 pound, right, doing that. I'll burn, maybe the 3,500 calories or whatever a pound is. You can totally negate that by drinking 1 Coke, right? Because again, you make yourself produce all that insulin and so forth. So exercise is a very poor way to try to lose weight. You would never do the type of exercise to lose the amount of weight that you guys have lost, right? Your body just would not let you do it, right? You have to exercise too much. So, but while exercise is not a good way to lose weight, it's an excellent way to maintain weight, right? So, but you're not going to